Hi everybody. I'm going to talk about something that is a little more opinion based, a little more empirical. Empirical meaning that these are sort of descriptions of some laws of nature observed out in the wild. So it's not necessarily from a textbook. This comes from my personal experiences dating, talking to other human beings, and transferring knowledge. Again, not necessarily out of a textbook, not looking for perfectly well-defined glossary terms that could go on Wikipedia, but general, just talking as people. So I want to talk about, how do you know if somebody likes you? And then even further, what their intentions are, and sort of help you navigate that is sort of a Cliff Notes quick guide to whenever you find yourself in a new interaction, how to know what's up with this person, what they're after, and then whether or not you're okay with it. So I want to talk about, how do you know if somebody likes you? It's simple. They talk to you. If they're talking to you in a context where they're not being forced or required, they like you. Period. When the talking is voluntary, they like you. Why? That seems so absolutely simplistic. Think about this. When you don't like somebody, you don't want to talk to them. Right? So when somebody is talking to you, especially if they strike up the conversation, there you go. They want to talk to you. And people do not want to talk to people that they do not like. So, yeah, that's pretty simple. And yes, really, like, seriously, it's that simple. So, well, so-and-so's wife talks to me all the time. Yeah, bro, that means his wife likes you. Same thing is true of husbands. Yeah, Sally's husband, comes and talks to me a lot. Yeah, he likes you. That's what people do when they like you. Doesn't mean that there's sexual intent. It doesn't mean that they're going to, actively try to pursue you. It doesn't mean that there's intentions behind it. It doesn't mean that somebody is going to have an affair. So one thing you don't need to do, don't be looking at your significant other now and being like, oh my God, they're always talking to Bob Sally. There might be something there. No, chill out. Because I'm not yet talking about how, this has nothing to do with sexual chemistry or sexual intent. This is just, does Bob like Sally? Well, Bob's talking to Sally. Yes. Well, and in the extra content of, does Bob have to be talking to Sally right now? Well, she's kind of his waitress, so he's ordering his food, so yeah. Well, I can't tell. But if Bob's talking to Sally, and just voluntarily, and they're both carrying on a conversation, that generally means they like you. Women are especially good at not talking to a man they don't like. Women are very, very good at this. They'll shut you down. They'll be like, excuse me, I got an appointment. Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. Like, girls are way better at this because they get a lot more practice at it. So, next thing, once you have this person in your general proximity, determining their intent. So, I'm going to split this up again in a very, very simplistic chart. Okay? I don't have a fun graphic for you, but just imagine a square divided into fourths, like the kind of window you drew on a house in kindergarten, You just do a square, and then you do a plus through the middle, and you have a square made out of 4 squares. It is 2 squared, right? So, and then don't imagine. I'm going to describe relationships in 2 and only 2 dimensions. And that is emotional and sexual. So the emotional part of the relationship is things like friendship, boyfriend, girlfriend, that kind of stuff. The interpersonal connection, the spirit bonding, the interacting, the talking, the Netflixing, not necessarily the chilling, right? And then there's the sexual aspect of it. You either have sexual chemistry or you don't. It's usually cut and dry. There's sexual chemistry or there's no sexual chemistry. Now, let me warn you once again, this is an oversimplification of a highly complex area of society with many shades of gray, but it all comes down to this. There are really only four outcomes of having any type of relationship with somebody. Okay? That's no emotion, no sexual, no emotion and sexual, emotional but no sex, and then emotional and sexual, right? So you're gonna have somebody, people that you have no connection with, no sexual chemistry with. Those people are just non-existent. They're not a big part of your life. Those are your so-called associates, or people you meet in passing, right? Pedestrians. And then there's the people with whom you have no emotional connection, but a sexual connection. And those are your fuck buddies, right? Those are your fuck buddies. You go, you may not even really like this person. You're like, God, you're such a bitch. You're a horrible person, but I love that thing you do with your tongue. The same thing, with the men. It's like, you're such an asshole, but you do it right. So those are your fuck buddies. Now, emotional connection, but no sexual connection. That's your friend zone. Okay? Well, and actually, let me be more specific, because that's not necessarily the friend zone. That's just friendship. You have an emotional connection, no sexual connection. Okay? That means you're good friends, or you've been married for longer than 6 months. So, or you've had children. And then finally, high emotion and high sexual connection. Those are your boyfriend girlfriend material, committed relationship material, or I don't know, if you're a South Park fan, you can be the bottom bitch, whatever you want to call it. But somebody who you have a good emotional connection with, good sexual connection with, those are the people that you can consider for serious relationships and seriously invest your feelings in. But those are the only four outcomes. Now, out of those four, which ones are the most desirable? That really is subjective. It depends on what you're looking for. One of the things that I found that is in line with my beliefs, one of the most rewarding relationships that you can have is a friend with benefits, right? So this is somebody where you've got a good friendship going. The sexual chemistry may or may not be there, but you're not just a friend, and you're not boyfriend or girlfriend. You're friends. Sometimes you diddle around in the pooter, and sometimes you don't. So, a friend with benefits. Now, and it seems so counterintuitive, but think about this a second. By the numbers, how many boyfriends or girlfriends, how many committed relationships have you gone through and ended, and it ended on a bad note? How many ex-boyfriends or ex-girlfriends have you been with and broken up with, and still remain friends with, and not just remain friends with, but they are also cool with the next person you're dating. Not too many. Certainly more friends with benefits. Relationships, when you have a relationship with a friend with benefits, the friendship carries on because the expectations are reduced. It's a lower bar to be set than the person who has to reach the bar of being the boyfriend or girlfriend. Expectations are much higher. You have to commit more, you have to invest more with fewer freedoms. If you're a friend with benefits, it's the best of both worlds. We can come around, we can hang out, or we can go months without speaking to each other. You can't do that in a committed relationship. You can hook up, have sex, have lots of sex for a little while, then stop and go back to having no sex. You can't do that in a committed relationship. You can't, I mean, you can, but it's just kind of sort of miserable, right? And so that is, the friend with benefits is, again, in my opinion, the least stressful, it is the most relaxed relationship. I guess how can I put this? It has the best return on investment, I'll say. So if you're wanting to invest in somebody emotionally, it has the greatest yield because you're satisfied emotionally and you're satisfied sexually with fewer strings attached and no expectations that are overly high. And I think anybody older than the age of 20, maybe even 30, but at some point in your life, you're going to come to realize that your co-ed friends with whom you've hooked up with a time or two, they're still your friends, and a lot closer friends than the people who you decided to go date full time and have a full-blown monogamous relationship with. By and large, friends with benefits withstand the test of time. So there's that. I mean, if you're not looking to invest your emotions, well, I mean, then you just go for the straight up fuck buddy. You don't see them for more than once a week, period. And the thing with a fuck buddy, you both have to understand the nature of that relationship. Like, this is what we do. We have sex. Don't confuse it. We fuck. That's it. Because what will happen if you try to promote a fuck buddy, then that once again puts higher expectations on them. There's a reason why you started off as just fuck buddies. That's because there's not a whole lot of emotional connection there. And your first instinct, your gut instinct is usually right. Except for now, you're trying to place higher expectations for something that just isn't there, and you end up losing a secure supply of sex. You end up losing your fuck buddy. And in all of this, honesty goes a long way. You should always communicate in no uncertain terms where you see your relationship with this person going. For me, whenever I was single and dating, the serious boyfriend-girlfriend role just seemed like a recipe for disaster. I was still going through some stuff in my life. I was highly stressed out, and I was very clear and upfront about it. And I said, I need to meet people because I lost all of my friends, and I lost my whole social circle. I need to get out and make friends. This is the best way I know how to do it. Take that knowledge and do what you feel is best. So that's all I got for you, mostly because I'm out of time. But please like, comment, or share. Let me know your thoughts on this. Like I said, this is mostly just empirical and just straight out of the pages of my life story. But I hope this helps you, and I hope this adds some perspective. I'll see you on the next video.